Doctor, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Of course, the program today will be focusing on diabetes and all the issues surrounding diabetes. And of course, we'll start with what this diabetes itself is.
Good question. Well, diabetes is a chronic, debilitating and costly disease. It's known as a silent killer. And what do I mean by silent killer? You can have diabetes for years without knowing. It's asymptomatic, no symptoms. The person just keeps going around normally. But the disease is slowly destroying organs in the body till one day the person manifests with complications. Okay? And then it becomes a problem. So diabetes is an endocrine metabolic disorder which is characterized by high blood glucose levels or sugar levels as a result of a relative or absolute lack of insulin. And what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone that is produced by an organ in the body called the pancreas. What it does is that it carries glucose into the cells to be utilized at a cellular level
in human
body, produce energy. That's what makes you move around strong and healthy. Once it's lacking, or once you have some of it in the body, but the receptor sites where it binds are not sensitive to it. For instance, those that have big tummy, what we call central obesity, we found out that they have insulin resistance. So insulin is available, but it's not binding to the receptors. Hence, you find out that it cannot perform its function. And there's no glucose in the blood. The cells are being starved of sugar, and so the body does not have enough energy, so they appear weak. Okay?
Okay, I hear over time that this diabetes itself is of different types.
Yeah.
You know, one is stronger than the other.
Really?
Yes, of course. Doctor, what are those types of diabetes?
Well, there are several types of diabetes, but there are two major types. We have the type 1 diabetes, usually seen in children or people of younger age, when you have absolute lack of insulin. And these are the ones that require insulin ab initio. Without insulin, they cannot survive. Okay? Then we have the type 2 diabetes, usually seen in older adults, usually people greater than 30 years of age. Type 2 diabetes is a major cause of diabetes, about 90% of cases. Here there's a relative insulin lack, or there's insulin resistance. The receptors that are supposed to respond to insulin don't allow insulin to bind because there is a lot of adipose fat tissue deposited in the tummy of the person. You see where people have big tummy, right? So it's a problem, okay? And you have insulin not binding to perform its function, and so there'll be a lot of sugar in the blood, and then you have diabetes.
Okay, having said that, who is affected by this diabetes?
Yeah, thank you. So many people are affected worldwide. Current estimates have it that about 425 million adults currently are living with diabetes worldwide. In the sub-Saharan Africa, we have about 16 million people, and it's estimated that by 41 million people will be affected or living with diabetes in sub-Saharan Africa. In Nigeria, there is a high prevalence. A recent meta-analysis by the Uloko et al. In 2015 gave estimates of about 5.7%. So it's quite high. Before, diabetes was uncommon in Africa. You would rarely hear of it. But right now, there is a rising trend, okay, or a paradigm shift in the prevalence, and it's really become a pandemic and a cause for alarm. The death rate yearly from diabetes outweighs death rate from both breast cancer and AIDS combined together. Death rate from those conditions.
That's quite huge.
So that's quite huge, and it's a cause for alarm. People should be educated on this, and we should look for hard measures to take to prevent its progression. That's why we're here to talk on this.
Now, predisposing factors as far as diabetes is concerned still remains a myth.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us about some of these risk factors associated with the diabetes?
Yeah, the risk factors really very important. Okay, they could be modifiable. What do I mean modifiable? That means you can apply lifestyle changes to adjust and prevent getting it, okay? Or there are those that are not modifiable, those that you cannot adjust. For instance, age greater than 45 years, okay? When you go older, you have the tendency to develop diabetes. Sex. Males are more predisposed to diabetes than the females. And then black race. Okay, black Africans are more predisposed to developing diabetes, as well as family history. If you have diabetes, the tendency or the likelihood is that other family members are at risk of developing diabetes. So there is a genetic component. The modifiable risk factors include overweight or obesity, what we know as when the body mass index is greater than 25 kilograms per meter square. In other words, you measure the weight of the person, then measure the height and square the height, then divide the weight weight of a person by the height square. If it's greater than 25 kilograms per meter square, such a person is overweight. And if it's greater than 30, such a person is obese. This is what we call the pot belly syndrome. A lot of people today, they eat a lot of junk food, okay? And we find out that they have increase in abdominal obesity. And this is an independent, modifiable risk factor for type 2 diabetes. Other risk factors include sedentary lifestyle. People who lack physical activity. A lot of people, because of advancement in technology, we have a lot of computer systems, telecommunication networks. People are always on the internet, okay? TV programs. People spend more hours sitting in one position, being sedentary. So there is what is known as the sit-in syndrome, where people who sit more than 4 hours at risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular mortality. Research has shown worldwide, and so people should increase physical activity. Other risk factors include smoking, alcohol intake, high salt diets, okay, hypertension, high salt diets. People who take a lot of salt. In diets, we'll talk about added salts, Some people eat salt food and then they feel the salt content is not enough, so they take, give me
extra
salt, and then pour into the food. Those added salts are the dangerous ones. Also, then when you tell them, please reduce your salt intake, you find out people go back to take Maggi cube and put like up to 10-20 Maggi cubes in their cooking.
Telling you that the Maggi cubes are not as dangerous as the salt.
Don't take salt. So they put Maggi. Now they don't remember, or they don't know that 1 cube of Maggi contains about 5.8 to 6.5 grams of sodium, which is salt, and this has been shown from research. So you see, it's a problem. They're even taking more than even the added salt on the table. Other dietary factors include people that eat a lot of junk food. See, find out that people don't have time to eat good food at home, to prepare food because of the fast life. We live a fast life. Everybody's on the move, So they don't have time to prepare good food at home. And a good food consists of a balanced diet containing protein, carbohydrate, fats and oil, minerals and vitamins with water, okay? So we find out that they go buying junk food, meat pie, cakes, sweets, chocolates, ice cream, and this big man syndrome. I'm a big man, to show that, look, I've got some money. They go to, eateries to show off that they have money. They spend that money on junk food. This food is not good, okay? And high salt, sugar content. For instance, do you know the regular soda?
Yes,
drink?
yes.
Yeah. About 12-ounce can of it contains about 150 calories, in addition with 40 grams of carbohydrates. And that is equivalent to 10 teaspoons of sugar. So that regular soda, they say, soda, there's nothing, no sugar.
That's right.
They're taking about 10 teaspoons of sugar in that.
Which is quite much.
Quite significant. Or a bottle of Coke contains about 7 cubes of sugar, which has been shown from research. Okay, so you take, imagine someone taking 6 bottles. Okay, in the morning it takes a bottle, in the afternoon I'm thirsty, he takes a bottle of Coke. Before dinner he takes 2 bottles again. You can imagine how.
Some people take it even in the midnight, like when they wake up, in the middle of their sleep, they will just wake up and then open the fridge, and of course.
So that's an addiction to Coke, isn't it?
That's right.
There are other sugars. Fruits will have fruit drinks, energy drinks. People do energy drinks. That's a whole lot of sugar there. We have sports drinks, sweet tea. People houses love tea, and they put a lot of sugar.
That's correct.
So that's another risk. Okay. Then also fat in the diet. You know about manshanu. I've got.
Yeah, manshanu.
Yeah, it has 100% cholesterol, which is and the back of chicken, which we like very much. It's very nice. It's sweet. It's delicious. But people that is a risk. Okay. So those are this. Hypertension also is a very important risk factor. People who are hypertensive are at risk of developing diabetes.
Therefore, they should check themselves regularly.
They have to check their blood pressures regularly, go for checkups in the clinic, go for follow-ups, see specialists. It's very important, okay? So those are some of the risk factors. Okay,
Doctor, having talked about the predisposing factors, now, quickly, what are those symptoms?
Symptoms?
How will one get to know that he or she has this diabetes?
Beautiful question. So symptoms, how do you know you have diabetes? Person comes in with excessive urination. Tells you, before I used to urinate twice in the morning and once at night. But this time around, every night I'm always waking up. He urinates up to 5 times. He has to wake up to urinate 5 times in the night. Okay? That's a whole lot. Excessive urination, excessive drinking of water. When the sugar is high in the blood, what it does is it creates an osmotic environment. And with osmosis it draws water to the kidneys. So the kidneys will try to remove that excess. Okay? And so it starts urinating, tries to remove it. So it's trying to urinate. As it's urinating, the body sends signals to the brain. some center in the brain telling you, I'm thirsty. The thirst center, the person begins to drink a whole lot of water. Okay? The next thing, the person begins to lose weight because there's so much sugar in the blood, but the cells that need the glucose are not getting the glucose. So they have to disturb the liver to begin to look for how to generate glucose from other ways. So they'll be breaking of fat. This fat that is already stored in adipose tissue begins to lyse, break down, and then
to replace what is not there.
It's not there because the body needs energy. Without glucose, you can't survive. The brain cells can't survive, so they start losing weight. So with the weight loss, there's weight reduction. Another symptom is what? Eating a lot. You feel you want to eat a whole lot. So the brain senses some area, you want to go specifically, is stimulated to say, oh, I need to eat more food because look, the cells are crying, there's no food, give me food. I need food to have energy. Then you keep eating. So they're eating a whole lot, but they're losing weight. You understand that? So those are the symptoms.
Well, I think because of time constraint, that's the much we can take on this episode of the program.